mean, we took a major step back because we lost. I had a client concentration problem that resolved itself by us losing that big client. So we took a step back revenue-wise, but as far as like signing up new clients, climbing back up and onboarding 2 new clients right now. Have another one on the wait list to get started in 2 weeks.
Cool.
So,
That's great. How when did you start the agency? Is it fairly new or is it a few years old?
I guess it depends on what you consider to be the start of the agency. My team lead who's with us, she's been with me for just over 4 years. So I guess that would be the start of the agency. Or 5 years. Like when I said, all right, I'm an agency. I'm not just a freelancer. My son was helping me out. So 5 years, I guess.
Yeah. Cool. That we started around the same time, about 5 years ago, to be honest.
Mm.
Before COVID. This year's been interesting, I think, because it's probably obviously we're constantly getting further and further away from the pandemic period, and obviously that's good because we have more normal periods of activity, because obviously we had that huge spike in digital activity, and we can't. That's likely not going to repeat itself. So, yeah,
e-commerce not doing as hard as it did during COVID. Obviously, the consumer sentiment seems to be down in the basement, like with the money becoming so expensive, and people just having a hard time paying their rent or mortgage. It's interesting times. It's shifting. I still have clients who are growing very aggressively, and I have clients who cancel their ads entirely because they just saw that they were running out of runway, and they just needed to figure out what to do. They couldn't knew. Like when the force of gravity changes, you gotta learn how to walk again.
Yeah. What are you? Are you quite international with your client base, or is it mostly Canada and US, or Canada?
Mostly US. I have one client in Canada, but mostly US. Some of them are international. I have a French client. We've done work like in Europe, all over Europe, in 8 languages, and some global clients that market in a bunch of places. So we have an American client expanding in Europe and in the UK right now, and that is the biggest. Most of their growth is coming from that, actually. Like they're growing in the US, but a lot of it is also coming from Europe and the UK.
That's great.
There's still pockets of growth, but definitely those are harder to come by, and the leads are a little bit harder to close. They like to go and talk to their boss or dog or whatever, and
I found
try to beat you up on price.
I think we actually noticed a change about a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, that leads were taking, 2020, 2021, people were taking like a week to decide to close. And now it could be, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months.
Easily. Yeah. You just got to have a bunch of them in your pipeline. Your pipeline needs to be bigger, and it's more work following up with them and staying in touch with them and taking their temperature. I noticed that. Not a big sample size, but the experience of other agency owners I talk to seems to be similar.
Yeah, I think the positive, if there's any positive, it's that it's a more considered decision. So you'd hope that retention should be easier because, the decisions people were making in 2020 were, let's try and take advantage of this as much as possible.
I think everyone was just drunk with cheap money. You know, everyone was just high with free cash, and that just showed in, you know, stock valuations. And like I have clients in the like SaaS space, startup space, like that industry, that I don't want to call it vertical, but that industry like is hurt even more than e-commerce, I would say, because like they used to run on VC money, and that money is hard to come by now these days.